Yo, what's your guys? It's Austin here, or Luna. So today's story time, in my opinion, is a pretty good one. I think you'll enjoy it. If you do, please leave a like on the video. It'd be dope if we could break like 10k likes on this video. And let's just jump right into it. So the story time takes place in 2016, okay? One of my favorite years of living so far. A lot of crazy things happened that year, this being probably one of the craziest, probably in the top 5. Now, at the time, I was single and I was on dating apps, specifically Tinder. And around this time, really all I was doing was sitting in my room just scrolling through that app, finding matches and talking to people, which is kind of sad when I think about it, but at the same time, like, whatever, I was bored, okay? And I matched with this one girl. Let's just call her Jessica. Okay, now Jessica, based on her photos, I could tell she was kind of in that emo slash goth style. And, I didn't care about that. I mean, I got emo roots myself. I mean, have you heard Waste My Life? I mean, if you haven't, you should go check it out. I'll leave it in the description. But yeah, like, people know. So anyway, yeah, I ended up matching with this girl named Jessica, right? And we start talking. And the first couple days of us talking on Tinder were pretty normal. She seemed like a cool girl, seemed like somebody I wanted to hang out with and get to know more. So me and her decided to set up a date. And fast forward to the date, I got ready. It was a Saturday night. We were going to a decently nice restaurant. It wasn't the nicest restaurant, but it was kind of nice. And me and her met up there. We got a table and we're just sitting there getting to know each other, talking. And the first hour of the date was very normal, very cool. And then she asked me, she's like, "Hey, after this, you want to come back to my house with me?" I was like, "Yeah, for sure." She goes, "All right, cool. Well, I live alone, so, no one will be there to bother us." I'm like, "All right, cool." Now in my head, I'm thinking okay, this is going good. I'm going to go hang out with her at her house after this. She seems like a cool girl, whatever. Cool, right? No. Fast forward, we go to her house, we get there, we get inside, I sit down on her couch, we start watching a show, and just out of absolutely nowhere, she turns and looks at me and goes, "So what are your thoughts on black magic?" And I'm thinking to myself, what the fuck is black magic? So I say that. I'm like, "What's black magic?" And she's like, "Oh, you don't know what it is? Never mind." So I decide to Google it. I pull up on my phone, I Google black magic, and I see this definition that says, "Black magic is used for evil purposes, and it's the evil side of magic." So I show her my phone. I'm like, "Is this what you're talking about?" She's like, "Yeah, that's it." I was like, "Why did you ask me this?" She's like, "Oh, because I do it, and I wondered if you wanted to be involved." Now I'm thinking to myself, okay, a little bit weird, but you know what? Whatever. So I say yes. I don't know why I said yes. Don't even ask me. I just thought that she was bluffing, or she just did it for an aesthetic. I didn't think that it was real black magic or some shit like that, right? And she goes, "Okay, come with me." And she gets up off the couch and she grabs me by my hand and she leads me to her bedroom, right? And she opens the bedroom door and she goes in her desk and she pulls out these black cards. They look like trading cards. And she goes, "Okay, now follow me." And she starts leading me down to her basement. Now, at this point, I'm genuinely afraid. I'm like, "Yo, is she about to take me down here and sacrifice me? What's about to happen?" So she leads me downstairs, and she goes into this back room in the basement and tells me to come in. And I shit you not, there is a circle of lit candles with a pentagram in the middle, just sitting in the middle of her floor, just sitting there. And I'm thinking to myself, "Yo, what the fuck is this?" I have so many things going on through my head. I'm like, "Yo, this girl is literally evil. She does sacrifices down here." And I'm thinking, "Yo, she leaves these candles on all the time. That's a fucking fire hazard." So I say that. I try and crack that joke to make it less tense. I'm like, "Yo, that's a fire hazard." And she goes, "It's okay, don't worry." And she goes, "Sit down in the middle." I'm like, "No, I think I'm good." And she goes, "What? You said you wanted to learn about it." I was like, "Yeah, but I didn't know it would be like this." And she goes, "I promise you it's not that bad once you give it a try." And I'm like, "I don't even know what giving it a try means." And she goes, "Hold on." And she turns around and she walks over to this table and she grabs these two things off the table. One of them is a blade, just a straight up pocket knife. And the other one is a finger pricking thing you would see at the doctor's. Now at this point, I'm thinking she's about to kill me. I'm like, "Yep, this is it. This is how I'm going to go out. This isn't good." And she goes, "Okay, so to participate, all we need is a little bit of your blood. How do you want to draw your blood? With the pricking thing or the knife?" And I just start laughing. I think she's joking, right? I don't know what else to think. I'm just in shock. And she goes, "Austin, I'm being serious." And her face gets real serious looking. And I just turn around and I start walking away. I start going upstairs. And she follows me with the knife in her hand. Now I start walking a little bit faster because I'm scared as hell. And I get to her front door. I put my shoes on. And she goes, "Austin, where are you going? Are you just leaving?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to go home. I don't think we're compatible." And she's like, "You can't be serious. This is what scares you away?" And I'm like, Yeah, You just said you needed my blood to do black magic in your basement with me. Like, I don't think I want to do that right now. And she's like, Austin, it's not that bad. So I put my shoes on and I walk out the door. I just start leaving. I walk home. She doesn't follow me, thankfully. I get home, I sit down, I hop on my computer, and I join this Discord call with my friends. And I was like, yo, I gotta tell you guys something. And my friend's like, yeah, what's up? Like, how'd your date go? I was like, listen, the date went bad, okay? Very bad. And I tell them the entire story, and they don't believe me. They're like, nah, that's bullshit. Like, no way that's true. And I'm like, dude, I'm being serious. And they just would not believe me. So fast forward like 2 hours later, she calls me on my phone. And I answer it, and I put it on speaker so they can hear this, and they can finally believe me about this story. So I put it on speaker, and I'm like, hello? And she goes, hey, I just want to talk to you about earlier and clear some things up. And I was like, okay, what's up? What do you want to clear up? She goes, listen, when I do that stuff in my basement, it's not evil, I promise you. And I'm like, you literally told me it's the evil side of magic, and you had a pentagram on the floor with candles surrounding it, and you said you needed my blood. And she was like, yeah, but evil is how you define it, and I don't define that as evil. And I was like, listen, I'm going to say it one last time. I just don't think we're compatible. I'm not really willing to draw blood for someone I'm dating. That's just not okay. And she goes, well, then that's not love. Then you don't love the person you're dating. And I was like, yeah, you're right. I don't love you, and I'm not going to give you my blood. And I highly suggest if you're giving your own blood to people, stop. And then she just goes, I'm cursing you, and hangs up on me. And to which all of my friends explode with laughter. They're laughing so fucking hard at me. They're like, yo, she's cursing you. She put the curse on you. I'm like, yo, that's not funny. And I'm just like half laughing and half freaked out because I don't know what the hell she's about to do. And yeah, literally just sitting there, not knowing what's about to happen. And I block her number because I'm scared. And I ask my friends on Discord, I'm like, yo, do you believe me now? Do you believe that this girl does Satan magic in her basement and literally tried to use my blood? And my friends are like, yeah, man, we believe you. Don't worry. So fast forward like a day, I'm just waiting to see if I have some like black magic curse on me. Like every move I make, I'm like keeping an eye on everything to make sure nothing bad happens. Like I didn't even believe in that stuff. And this girl had me believing in it because I thought she put a curse on me or something. So fast forward about a week, nothing else really happened. I'm thinking that it's over with, that girl's not going to contact me anymore. And you know, it's not like she could. I blocked her number. But then all of a sudden, I get a Tinder notification. And then I realized it's from her. I didn't block her on Tinder. And the message just says, hey, I miss you. And I respond and I'm like, did you really put a curse on me? And she goes, no, I didn't do that. I like you too much. And I was like, oh, thanks. And then I unmatched her. I was just leaving it at that. I didn't want to go any further with talking to her. Just in case she did try and put a curse on me, I didn't want to know. And yeah, after that, life was pretty normal, so I think I'm all good. But yeah, that was definitely the most crazy / like insane Tinder date I've ever been on in my entire life. I thought you guys would like to hear about it. Moral of the story is if a girl ever asks you or a guy asks you to do black magic, say no, especially if the basement looks like hers. But yeah, guys, I hope you enjoyed this story time and found it to be crazy. If you did, please leave a like on the video. I'd really appreciate it. Feel free to leave your story times in the comments down below and subscribe if you're new. I'll see you all later. Peace.
Like, what's up? They leave me out for the dead, and now they know that